What is this shit? Look at this. Look at this. What? This is the Blu-ray? Is that a joke? Look how fucking lame that is. Oh wait, is that boobies? Welcome to Monster Monday. I am gonna apologize ahead of time because I picked The Deadly Spawn off my shelf, having not seen it in a long while. I was like, oh, this will be a fun monster movie. I have seen it before, but it's been a long time, so my memory was very hazy on it. And yeah, so I sat down, I watched the whole thing, and it stinks. What's that from? Oh man, this movie's terrible. Now, I will say up front though, that the practical effects and the kills were pretty cool. Pretty much everything else is horrible. Oh my good God. So we get this super typical lame ass opening. Generic as all hell. You know, the deadly spawn is come to Earth, whatever. These guys get attacked. Little shadow puppet on the wall. They scream. You know, there you go. There's the opening. The first kill that takes place in the basement in the opening has so much blood. It's insane, which is always fine with me. The monster itself, you know, right here, or right here. There you go. This is why I need video clips. But, you know, that takes too much time, and I gotta crank these out. I don't have to, but I like to. Because I get bored otherwise. I don't want to get bored. I don't want this channel to ever be a chore. So if I have to sit down and edit for like an hour or two, or like add all these clips, and that's just gonna get me bored, and I don't want to do that. So there's your answer on why. But every once in a while, I like to throw like Dave and Chainsaw on a video. Anyways, let's not talk about why I don't do what I don't do. Do what I don't do. I think that works better. Yeah, so we get the mom's face torn off across here. As I said, the practical effects in this film are worth mentioning, and pretty much the only damn thing to talk about. We get this kid in the film who ends up being basically the main, protagonist of the film. He ends up saving the day anyways. We get nothing out of this kid. We don't get to explore this kid's character at all. We don't get to explore almost anybody's characters at all. There isn't even any characters. I literally just watched the film and I could barely tell you anything about anyone in this film. What they're doing, what's going on, anything. The dialogue is there just to eat up minutes so that they can show another kill. The kid is in like a therapy session and his doctor's talking to him about horror and whatnot. Like, kids really into horror movies and stuff. And I completely relate to this. The kid wakes up his parents in the morning by blasting horror movies and screaming. I'm like, yeah, all right, this kid knows what's up. Then the kid goes down into his basement and he sits there and he sees the monster. And he just observes it forever. Seriously, it is the longest, most drawn out scene I think I've ever watched. He just looks, and he looks over here and he sees another little monster. And he looks over there, and he looks up here, and he looks in his pants. It's just ridiculous how long this goes on. And then he realizes finally that the thing can't see him. It can hear him. So he starts making noises. He distracts it. He gets out of there. Whatever. The dialogue. I've already talked and touched on this a little bit. But you got like a group of old ladies talking about God knows fucking what. And then you've got these three kids who get together and are talking science-y stuff and hypotheses and and just they find the little tadpole looking thing and they're just discussing what it could possibly be, and they dissected it, but it's not interesting. There's nothing witty, there's nothing funny, there's nothing endearing, there's nothing dramatic, there's nothing. It's just like
all right, we need to make this at least 80 minutes, so throw in whatever you can think of. I almost have to believe that this film was winged without a script. I really, really almost believe that. Yeah, anyway. I just keep writing down like practicals are awesome on this list. I don't really have a ton of. Yeah, so the kids have the chance, like, they're trapped in the bedroom, and they're behind them is a window that they could have crawled through and just opened up and left. But they don't. And then one of them gets outside, decides not to leave, and then they trap themselves in the attic, even though they were on the second floor. Instead of going down, they went up into the attic for some reason. And then when the monster's attacking them in the attic, they just sit there and they try to fend it off, and they try to figure out which way to go for like a couple minutes. And it's like, why don't you go back out the window you came through and then just go down to the ground and leave? It's really not that hard. And then the kid in this, who is a like he's a horror film kid, but slash magician, I guess. He goes and he MacGyver's this doll head with a mask, and he sticks a bunch of his flash powder in this thing, and he does kind of like a phantasm thing where the kid makes the hammer with the shotgun shell and breaks the lock open. He does that with this thing so he can blow up the monster. Takes it upstairs. He just hooks like a cord into it, and he uses it on a pole to try to lure the thing towards him, which we see the camera through the beast's mouth, and it's looking at it. It's observing the thing. It's not making any noise. So I don't know if they're saying there's actual eyes in there and maybe they just can't see all that well or what. Now, ultimately, the kid does scream and make it look like the head's doing it, even though it would only be able to localize sound. And if sound is the only thing it really had, it would know that it wasn't coming from here, it was coming from down here. That's nor here nor there. But I don't know, because the kid doesn't really do anything to get its attention. It doesn't make any sound. He doesn't really do anything. And still, the deadly spawn is coming at this head on a stick. And he's like, puts out one of his little other freaking heads and like touches it and is playing around with it. So he can see or he can't see. I don't understand that at all. That makes zero sense. Then it finally takes it, puts it in his mouth after the kid screams, and the kid's trying to get the cord, and then he pulls out an extension cord in his, like he's got strapped to him like a bullet belt or something. Why he doesn't have this thing attached already is beyond me. Like, that just seems like one step that's adding moments that you don't have. So, but he's a kid. The fact that he thought of this at all is pretty amazing, but really? So he plugs it in and he's pulling on the thing and he's pulling on the thing. Mind you, the only thing that's keeping the cord inside the flash powder is a little bit of molding clay that he stuck it through. So like just a little yank would have pulled it right the F out of there. So the fact that he's like yanking on it as the monster's pulling back on it, yeah, it wouldn't have stayed in there. And it would have pulled it apart from the extension cord as well. So that was pretty damn silly. This whole fucking film's silly, so it doesn't matter, but I'm not gonna not pull it out. And then another one tries to come and attack the kid from behind, and he ducks. And then the monster comes in and you think he gets eaten, and it's a fake out, and he actually ate his own one. It was cannibalism, and he munched on his own guy. And the kid is able to take the cord. He like looks at it for a second and then just like plugs it in. I don't know what he was waiting for. And the thing explodes. And then we move off to everyone in town doing their part to eradicate the little critters. And then at the end, we see a guy going around to see a cleanup crew, maybe like just kind of the last shift, looking around. Is there anything else? And we get the big money shot, the whole mountain, because the things have exponentially grown, and the guy on the radio is like, they just keep growing, and this one is the size of an entire huge hill. And he pops up, rawr, and the movie ends. This movie has like a 1950s kind of vibe soundtrack to it because it's like an old monster movie of the 50s. But it's getting kind of updated into like an 80s synth. So it's kind of cool. I like the blend of the two eras together, and they kind of marry them together. So I like that a lot. And I have to say that I think the moral of this story is that watching horror movies can save lives. This kid was all about, practical effects and whatever, had all these masks, had all this knowledge of film and whatnot, and how to best this thing, and he does. So I like any message that says, well, letting kids watch horror is A-okay. It really isn't. You shouldn't do that. But my parents did, and look at me. Look at me, Mom. Top of the world. All right, as I said, it wasn't going to be the greatest Monster Monday. There's not a ton to talk about in this film. I feel like the back cover is more interesting. Look at that. This is right before her face gets ripped apart. You can't really see it on it all that well, but it looks really cool. This monster looks really cool. It's all this huge fucking thing just kind of moving along. You never get to see its feet. Reminds me of the movie The Brain, which I reviewed on here from 1988. Or that big wall of monsters coming at John Trenton in The Mouth of Madness, where it's just a blob of something moving and you never really see its feet. And I always have to wonder what its feet look like under there. Is there like 30 of them and they're like running really, really fast? They're scampering? Or is there like 2 big ones? But they're moving pretty quick, so I don't know. I always have to imagine what's under these fucking things that's propelling them forward. Are they kind of like, rippling like a snake or something? Or like Jabba the Hutt? Anyways, I'm just trying to fill up time so this is more interesting. But The Deadly Spawn, anybody a fan of this movie? Oh, and I'll throw it on the front of this. So you'll have already seen it, but oh my god, what the hell was that little box? Like my full TV, here's my full TV, and like there's like this little box where the fucking film is. Well, you saw it at the beginning because I'm gonna throw it on there, but what the fuck was that? Good thing I'm always distracted by some titties. All right, guys.